नमो भगवते रुद्राय। ओम नमस्ते रुद्रमन्यवउतोत इषवे नमः। नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुतते नमः। यात इषुः शिवतमा शिवं बभूवते तनुः। शिवा शरव्या यातपतया नो रुद्रमृडया। याते रुद्रशिवा तनूरघोरा पापकाशनी। तया नस्तनुवा शन्तमया गिरिचन्ताभिषाकचीः। यामिषुं गिरिशन्तहस्ते बिभर्ष्यस्तवे। शिवां गिरित्रतां गुरुमाहिंसीः पुरुषं जगत्। शिवेन वचसा त्वा गिरिशाच्छावतामसि। यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगत यक्ष्मकुं सुमना असत्। अध्यवोचतदिवक्ता प्रथमो दैव्योऽभिषक्। अहीगिश्च सर्वान् जम्भयन् सर्वाश्च यातु धान्यः। असौ यस्ताम्रो अरुण उत बभ्रुः सुमङ्गलः। ये चेमागुं रुद्राभितो दिक्षुश्रिताः सहस्रशो वैशाखं हेडयीमहे। असौ यो वसर्पतिनीलग्रीवो विलोहितः। उतैनं गोपा अदृशन्नदृशन्नदहार्यः। उतैनं विश्वाभूतानि सदृष्टो मृडयाति नः। नमो अस्तु नीलग्रीवाय सहस्राक्षाय मीडुषे। अथो ये अस्य सत्त्वानोऽहं तेभ्यो करन्नमः। प्रमुञ्च धन्वनस्त्वमभयोराज्ञयोज्यां। याश्च देहस्तैषवः पराता भगवो वप। अवतत्य धनुस्त्वगुं सहस्राक्षशतेषु धे। शीर्यशल्यानां मुखो शिवानि सुमना भवा। विद्यं धनुः कपर्दिनो विशल्यो बाणवागुम् उत। अनेशन्नस्येषव आभुरस्य निषङ्गतिः। याते हेतिर्मीढुष्टमहस्ते बभूवते तनुः। तयास्मान् विश्वतस्त्वक्ष्मया परिभुजा। नमस्ते अस्त्वायुधायाना तताय धृष्णवे। उभाभ्यामुतते नमो बाहुभ्यां तव धन्वने। परिते धन्वनो हेतिरस्मान् मुडक्तु विश्वतः। अथो य इषुधिस्तवारे अस्मन्निदेहितं। नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः। नमो हिरण्यबाहवे सेनान्ये दिशाञ्च पतये। नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यः पशूनां पतये। नमो नमः सस्पिञ्जराय त्विषीमते पथीनां पतये। नमो नमो बभ्लुषाय विव्याधिनेन्नानां पतये। नमो नमो हरिकेशायोपभीतिने पुष्टानां पतये। नमो नमो भवस्य हेत्यै जगतां पतये। नमो नमो रुद्राय ततापिने क्षेत्राणां पतये। नमो नमः सूताय हन्त्याय वनानां पतये। नमो नमः रोहिताय स्थपतये वृक्षाणां पतये। नमो नमो मन्त्रिणे वाणिजाय कक्षाणां पतये। नमो नमो भुवन्तये वारिवस्कृताय औषधीनां पतये। नमो नम उच्चैर्घोषाय क्रन्दयते पत्तीनां पतये। नमो नमः कृत्स्नवेताय धावते सत्त्वनां पतये। नमः नमः सहमानाय निव्याधिन आव्याधिनीनां पतये। नमो नमः ककुभाय निषङ्गिणे स्थेनानां पतये। नमो नमो निषङ्गिण इषुधमते तस्कराणां पतये। नमो नमो पञ्चते परिपञ्चते स्थायूनां पतये। नमो नमो निचेरवे परिचरायारण्यानां पतये। नमो नमः सृकाभिभ्यो जिगाघुञ्जित्सद्भ्यो मुष्टतां पतये। नमो नमो सिमद्भ्यो नुक्तञ्चरद्भ्यः प्रकृन्तानां पतये। नमो नमः उष्णीषिणे गिरिचराय कुलुञ्चानां पतये। नमो नमः इषुमद्भ्यो धन्वापिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आतन्वानेभ्यः प्रतिदधानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आयच्छद्भ्यो विसृजद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमोऽस्यद्भ्यो विद्यद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आसीनेभ्यः शयानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः स्वपद्भ्यो जाग्रद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तिष्ठद्भ्यो धावद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो अश्वेभ्योऽश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नम आव्याधिनीभ्यो विविद्यन्तीभ्यश्च वो नमो नम उगणाभ्यस्त्रगुंहतीभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो कृत्सेभ्यो कृत्सपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो प्रातेभ्यो प्रातपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गणेभ्यो गणपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो विरूपेभ्यो विश्वरूपेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः महद्भ्यः शुलकेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रतिभ्यो रतेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यः रथपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सेनाभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः शत्रुभ्यः संगृहेतृभ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तक्षभ्यो रथकारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः कुलालेभ्यः कर्मारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः कुञ्जिष्टेभ्यो निषादेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः इषुकृभ्यो धन्मकृभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो मृगयुभ्यश्वनिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः श्वभ्यश्वपदिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमो भवाय च रुद्राय च नमः शर्वाय च पशुपतये च नमो नीलग्रीवाय च श्रुतिकण्ठाय च नमः कपर्दिने च युक्तकेशाय च नमः सहस्राक्षाय च शतधन्वने च नमो गिरिशाय च पिविष्ठाय च नमो मीडुष्टमाय चेष्टमचे च नमो ह्रस्वाय च वामनाय च नमो बृहते च वर्षीयसे च नमो वृद्धाय च संवृद्धने च नमो अग्रियाय च प्रथमाय च नमो आशवे च अचिराय च नमः शीघ्रियाय च शीभ्याय च नमो ऊर्म्याय च वस्वन्याय च नमः स्रोतस्याय च द्वीप्याय च नमो ज्येष्ठाय च कनिष्ठाय च नमः पूर्वजाय च परजाय च नमो मध्यमाय च अपकल्पाय च नमो जघन्याय च बुद्ध्याय च नमः सोभ्याय च प्रतिसर्याय च नमो याम्याय च क्षेम्याय च नमो अर्पर्याय च खल्याय च नमः श्लोक्याय च अवसान्याय च नमो वन्याय च कक्ष्याय च नमः श्रवाय च प्रतिश्रवाय च नमः आशुषेणाय च आशुपथाय च नमः शूराय च पविन्धते च नमो वर्मिणे च वरोधिने च नमो बल्मिने च कवचने च नमः श्रुताय च श्रुतसेनाय च नमो दुन्दुभ्याय च हनन्याय च नमो दुष्णवे च प्रमुषाय च नमो दूताय च प्रहिताय च नमो निचङ्गिणे च शुद्धमते च नमस्तीक्ष्णे शवे चायुधिने च नमः आयुधाय च सुधन्वने च नमः श्रुत्याय च पथ्याय च नमः काट्याय च नीत्याय च नमः स्तूत्याय च सरस्याय च नमो नाट्याय च वैशन्ताय च नमः ऊप्याय च वट्याय च नमो वर्ष्याय च वर्ष्याय च नमो मेघ्याय च विद्युत्याय च नमः ईथ्र्याय च तप्याय च नमो वात्याय च रेश्म्याय च नमो वास्तव्याय च वास्तुपाय च नमः सोमाय च रुद्राय च नमस्ताम्राय च अरुणाय च नमः शङ्गाय च पशुपतये च नमः उग्राय च भीमाय च नमो अग्रे वधाय च दूरे वधाय च नमो हन्त्रे च हनीयसे च नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यो नमस्ताराय नमः शम्भवे च मयो भवे च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च नमस्तीर्थ्याय च कुल्याय च नमः भार्याय च भार्याय च नमः प्रतरणाय चोत्तरणाय च नमः आतार्याय च आलाद्याय च नमः शिष्याय च फेन्याय च नमः सिकत्याय च प्रपाह्याय च नमः हिरण्याय च प्रपहत्याय च नमः किगंशलाय च क्षयणाय च नमः कपर्दिने च पुलस्तये च नमो गोष्ट्याय च गृह्याय च नमः स्थल्प्याय च गेह्याय च नमः काट्याय च गह्वरेष्ठाय च नमो हृदयाय च नमः निवेश्याय च नमः पागं सव्याय च रजस्याय च नमः शुष्क्याय च हरित्याय च नमो लोप्याय चोलप्याय च नमः ऊर्याय च सूर्याय च नमः पर्ण्याय च पर्णशक्याय च नमो पकुरमाणाय च पिघ्नते च नमः आखिद्दते च प्रखिद्दते च नमो बह्किरिकेभ्यो देवानागुम्तयेभ्यो नमो विक्षेणकेभ्यो नमो विचन्मत्केभ्य नमः आनिर्हतेभ्यो नमः आमीवत्केभ्यः द्रापे अन्धसस्पते दरिद्रन्नीललोहिता येषां पुरुषाणां येषां पशूनामाभेर्मारोमो येषां किञ्चनाममत् या ते रुद्रशिवा तनुः शिवा विश्वा भेषजी शिवा रुद्रस्य भेषजी तया नो मृडजीवसे इमागुं रुद्राय तपसे कवर्धिने क्षयद्वीराय प्रभराम हेमतिं यथा नश्यमसद्विपते चतुष्पदे विष्णुं पुष्टं ग्रामे अस्मिन्ननातुरं प्रणानो रुद्रो तनो मयस्कृतिक्षयद्वीराय नमसा विधेमते यच्चञ्चयोश्च मनुराय चेविता ततश्यामतपरुद्रप्रणीतौ मानो महान्तमुतमानो अर्भगं मानमुक्षन्तमतमानमुक्षितं मानो वदीः पितरं मोतमातरं प्रियामानस्तनुवः रुद्ररीरिषः मानस्तोके तनये मान आयुषिमानो गोषुमानो अश्वेषु रीरिषः वीरान्मानो रुद्रभामितो वधीर्हविष्वन्तो नमसा विधेमते आरात्ते गोघ्नौतपूरुषघ्ने क्षेत्वीराय नमस्मेते अस्तु रक्षा च नो अधि च देव ब्रूह्यता च नः शर्मा यच्छद्विबर्हास्तु हि श्रुतङ्गर्तसतं युवानं मृगन्न भीममुपहत्तुमग्रम् नडाचरित्रे रुद्रस्तवानो अन्यन्ते अस्मन्निपपन्तु सेनाः परिणो रुद्रस्य हेतर्वणक्तुपरद्वेषस्य दुर्मतिरघायोः अवस्थिरामघवद्भ्यस्त्वनुष्वमीढ्भस्तोकायतनयाय मृडया मीढुष्टमशिवतमशिवो नः सुमना भव परमे वृक्ष आयुधं निधाय कृत्तिं वसान आचर पिनाकं बिभ्रतागहीं विकिरत विलोहित नमस्ते अस्तु भगवः यास्ते सहस्रगुंहेतयोन्यमस्मन्निपपन्तु ताः सहस्राणि सहस्रदा बाहुवोस्तव हेतयः तासामीशानो भगवः पराचीनामुखाकृति सहस्राणि सहस्रशो ये रुद्राधिभूम्यां तेषागुं सहस्रयोजनेव धन्वानि तन्मसि अस्मिन् महत्किरणवे अन्तरिक्षे भवाधि नीलग्रीवाश्रितिकण्ठाः शर्वातः क्षमाचराः नीलग्रीवाश्रितिकण्ठादिबगुं रुद्र उपश्रिताः ये वृक्षेषु सस्पिञ्जरा नीलग्रीवा विलोहिताः ये भूतानामधिपतयो विशिखासः खपर्दिनः ये अन्नेषु विविध्यन्ति पात्रेषु पिबतो जनान् ये पथां पथे रक्षय ऐलभृताय व्यतः ये तीर्थानि प्रचन्ति सुक्तावन्तो निषङ्गिनः य एतावन्तश्च भूयागुंसश्च दिशो रुद्रावितस्तिरे तेषागुं सहस्रयोजनेव धन्वानि तन्मसि नमो रुद्रेभ्यो ये पृथिव्यां ये अन्तरिक्षे ये दिवि येषामन्नं वातो परशमशवस्तेभ्यो दश प्राचीर्दश दक्षिणादश प्रतीचीर्दशोदीचीर्दशोर्ध्वास्तेभ्यो नमस्ते नो मृडयन्तु तेयं द्विष्मो यश्च नो द्वेष्टतं वोचं विहेददामि त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् यो रुद्रो अग्नौ यो अप्स्यवोषधेषु यो रुद्रो विश्वाभवना विवेश तस्मै रुद्राय नमो अस्तु एते सहस्रमयुतं भाषा मृत्यो मृत्याय हन्तवे तान्यज्ञस्य मायया सर्वानप यजामहे मृत्यवे स्वाहा प्राणानां ग्रन्थिरसि रुद्रो मा विशान्तकः तेनान्येनाप्यायस्व नमो रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि ओम शांति शांति शांतिः हरिः ओम अग्ना विष्णु सजोषसे मा वर्धन्तु वाङ्गिरः चिम्नैर्वाजैभिरागतं वाजश्च मे प्रसवश्च मे प्रयतिश्च मे प्रसितिश्च मे धेतश्च मे क्रतुश्च मे स्वरश्च मे श्लोकश्च मे श्रावश्च मे श्रुतिश्च मे ज्योतिश्च मे सुवश्च मे प्राणश्च मे पानश्च मे व्यानश्च मे सुश्च मे चित्तञ्च माधीतिञ्च मे वाक्च मे मनश्च मे चक्षुश्च मे श्रोत्रञ्च मे दक्षश्च मे बलञ्च म ओजश्च मे सहश्च म आयुश्च मे जरा च म आत्मा च मे तनूश्च मे शर्म च मे वर्म च मे अङ्गानि च मे स्थानि च मे रोगंश च मे शरीराणि च मे जैष्ट्यञ्च म आधिपत्यञ्च मे मन्युश्च मे भामश्च मे मश्च मे म्भश्च मे जयमा च मे महिमा च मे वरिमा च मे प्रथिमा च मे वृष्मा च मे द्राघूया च मे वृद्धं च मे वृद्धिश्च मे सत्यं च मे श्रद्धा च मे जगच्च मे धनं च मे वशश्च मे द्विषश्च मे क्रीडा च मे मोदश्च मे जातं च मे जनिष्यमाणं च मे सूक्तं च मे सुकृतं च मे वित्तं च मे वेद्यं च मे भूतं च मे भविष्यश्च मे सुखं च मे सुपथं च म रुद्धं च म रुद्धिश्च मे क्लुप्तं च मे क्लुप्तिश्च मे मतिश्च मे सुमतिश्च मे शंच मे मयश्च मे प्रियंच मे नुकामश्च मे कामश्च मे सौमनसश्च मे भद्रंच मे श्रेयश्च मे वस्यश्च मे यशश्च मे भगश्च मे द्रविणंच मे यन्ता च मे धर्ता च मे क्षेमश्च मे धृतिश्च मे विश्वंच मे महश्च मे संविच्छ मे ज्ञात्रंच मे सूश्च मे प्रसूश्च मे सीरंच मे लयश्च मरुतंच मे अमृतंच मे क्ष्मंच मे नामयश्च मे जीवातुश्च मे दीर्घायुत्वंच मे नमित्रंच मे प्रियंच मे सुगंच मे शयनंच मे सूषा च मे सुदिनंच मे ऊर्च मे सूनृता च मे पयश्च मे रसश्च मे घृतं च मे मधु च मे शक्तिश्च मे सपेतश्च मे कृशिश्च मे पृष्टिश्च मे चैत्रं च मौद्भिद्यं च मे रजिश्च मे राजश्च मे पुष्टं च मे पुष्टिश्च मे विभु च मे प्रभु च मे बहु च मे भूयश्च मे पूर्णं च मे पूर्णतरं च मे क्षितिश्च मे कूयवाश्च मे अन्नं च मे क्षुश्च मे व्रीहयश्च मे यवाश्च मे माशाश्च मे तिलाश्च मे मुद्गाश्च मे खल्वाश्च मे गोधूमाश्च मे मसुराश्च मे प्रियङ्गवश्च मे नवश्च मे श्यामकाश्च मे नीवाराश्च मे श्मा च मे मृत्तिका च मे गिरयश्च मे पर्वताश्च मे सिकताश्च मे वनस्पतयश्च मे हिरण्यं च मे यश्च मे सीसं च मे त्रपुश्च मे श्यामं च मे लोहं च मे अग्निश्च म आपश्च मे पेरुधश्च म ओषधयश्च मे कृष्णपच्यं च मे कृष्णपच्यं च मे ग्राम्याश्च पशव आरण्याश्च यज्ञेन कल्पन्तां वित्तं च मे वित्तश्च मे भूतं च मे भूतिश्च मे वसु च मे वसतश्च मे कर्म च मे शक्तिश्च मे अर्थश्च मे येमश्च मे गतिश्च मे गतिश्च मे अग्निश्च मे इन्द्रश्च मे सोमश्च मे इन्द्रश्च मे सविता च मे इन्द्रश्च मे सरस्वती च मे इन्द्रश्च मे पूषा च मे इन्द्रश्च मे बृहस्पतिश्च मे इन्द्रश्च मे मित्रश्च मे इन्द्रश्च मे वरुणश्च मे इन्द्रश्च मे त्वष्टा च मे इन्द्रश्च मे धाता च मे इन्द्रश्च मे विष्णुश्च मे इन्द्रश्च मे अश्विनौ च मे इन्द्रश्च मे मरुतश्च मे इन्द्रश्च मे विश्वे च मे देवा इन्द्रश्च मे पृथिवी च मे इन्द्रश्च मे अन्तरिक्षं च मे इन्द्रश्च मे द्यौश्च मे इन्द्रश्च मे दिशश्च मे इन्द्रश्च मे मूर्धा च मे इन्द्रश्च मे प्रजापतिश्च मे इन्द्रश्च मे आगुंशुश्च मे रश्मिश्च मे दाभ्यश्च मे अधिपतिश्च मे भागुंशुश्च मे अन्तर्यामश्च मे इन्द्रवायवश्च मे मैत्रावरुणश्च मे अश्विनश्च मे प्रतिप्रस्थानश्च मे शुक्रश्च मे मन्थी च माग्रणयश्च मे वैश्वदेवश्च मे ध्रुवश्च मे वैश्वानरश्च मे ऋतुग्रहाश्च मे तिग्राह्याश्च मे ऐन्द्राग्नश्च मे वैश्वदेवश्च मे मरुत्वतीयाश्च मे माहेन्द्रश्च मे आदित्यश्च मे सावित्रश्च मे सारस्वतश्च मे पौष्णश्च मे पात्नीवतश्च मे हारियोजनश्च मे हित्मश्च मे बर्हिश्च मे वेदिश्च मे दृष्टियाश्च मे सृचश्च मे चमसाश्च मे ग्रापाणश्च मे स्वरवश्च मे उपरवाश्च मे दशवने च मे द्रोणकलशश्च मे वायव्यानि च मे भूतभृच्च मे आधवनीयश्च मे आग्नेयध्वं च मे हविर्दानं च मे गृहाश्च मे सुतश्च मे पुरोडाशाश्च मे पचिताश्च मे वपुषश्च मे स्वगाकारश्च मे अग्निश्च मे घर्मश्च मे अर्कश्च मे सूर्यश्च मे प्राणश्च मे श्वमेधश्च मे पृथिवी च मे दितिश्च मे दितिश्च मे द्यौश्च मे शक्परीरङ्गुलज्योतिषश्च मे यज्ञेन कल्पन्तां मृक्च मे साम च मे स्तोमश्च मे यजुश्च मे दीक्षा च मे तपश्च मे ऋतुश्च मे व्रतं च मे होरात्रयोर्दृष्ट्या बृहत्प्रतन्त्रे च मे यज्ञेन कल्पेतां गर्भाश्च मे गर्भाश्च मे वत्साश्च मे त्रविश्च मे त्रवी च मे दित्यवाच्च मे दित्यौही च मे पञ्चाविश्च मे पञ्चावी च मे त्रिवत्सश्च मे त्रिवत्सा च मे तुर्यवाच्च मे तुर्यौही च मे पष्टवाच्च मे पष्टौही च मे उक्षाच्च मे वशा च मे वृषभश्च मे वेहच्च मे नत्वाञ्च मे धेनुश्च म आयुरित्येन कल्पन्तां प्राणो इत्येन कल्पताम् अपानो इत्येन कल्पतां ध्यानो इत्येन कल्पतागुं चक्षुरित्येन कल्पतागुं श्रोत्रम् इत्येन कल्पतागुं मनो इत्येन कल्पतां वाक् इत्येन कल्पतामात्मा इत्येन कल्पतां यज्ञो इत्येन कल्पताम् एका च मे त्रस्रश्च मे पञ्च च मे सप्त च मे नव च मे एकादश च मे त्रयोदश च मे पञ्चदश च मे सप्तदश च मे नवदश च मे एकविंशतिश्च मे त्रयोविंशतिश्च मे पञ्चविंशतिश्च मे सप्तविंशतिश्च मे नवविंशतिश्च मे एकत्रिंशच्च मे त्रयस्त्रिंशच्च मे चतुस्रश्च मे अष्टौ च मे द्वादश च मे षोडश च मे विंशतिश्च मे चतुर्विंशतिश्च मे अष्टाविंशतिश्च मे द्वात्रिंशच्च मे षट्त्रिंशच्च मे चत्वारिंशच्च मे चतुश्चत्वारिंशच्च मे अष्टाचत्वारिंशच्च मे वाजश्च प्रसवश्चापिजश्च क्रतुश्च सुवश्च मूर्धा च विष्णुश्चान्त्यायनश्चान्त्यश्च भुवनश्च भुवनाधिपतिश्च इडा देवहूर्मनुर्यज्जनीर्बृहस्पतिरुक्तामधाने शकुंसषद्विश्वे देवसूक्तवाचः पृथिवी मातर्मा माहिंसेर्मधुमनिष्ये मधुजनिष्ये मधुभक्ष्यामि मधुभरिष्यामि मधुभतीं देवेभ्यो वाचमुद्यासकुं शुश्रूषेण्यां मनुष्येभ्यस्तम्मा देवा अवन्तु शोभायै पितरो नुमतन्तु ओम शांति 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 यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं तु यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देवा नारायण नमोस्तुते विसर्गबिन्दुमात्राणि पदपादाक्षराणि च न्यूनातिरिक्तं यत्किञ्चिदाभिर्गिर्भीर्ति रुदीरयेत् ओम शांति शांति
O hero, descendant of sages, breath of love, sweet and sure, swept along by power of ages, thrilling words that will endure. Thrilling words that will endure. On mother's rocky footstand, Master beckons across the sea. Heart for poor and open hand, inspired thoughts flowing free. Inspired thoughts flowing free. Line roars, arise, awake and sing. Shake off shackles, wait no more. Restore thy glory that's undying. Lead us to thy distant shore. Lead us to thy distant shore. Into vast depths he plunged, returned and its secrets shared to us all, with outcasts on their own journey. In rhythmic, stirring phrases there, in stirring rhythmic phrases there. O hero, descendant of sages, breath of love, sweet and sure. On rocky mother's foot Viveka stands, with master beckoning across the sea. Heart sore and urged to offer willing hands, he armed himself with thoughts that were to be. O hero strong, descendant of the sages, his heart did burst with love that does endure. Were swept along by waves of endless ages, in such a way that makes our freedom sure. For friend he had the mother wild baby, a pen whose rest she surely never finds. He swam with ease in rainbow colored company, renewing sacred lore for modern mind. O Bharata, arise, awake, and let us sing. Unshake the shackles off and wait no more. Restore your glory, teach the world undying, and lead us to thy everlasting shore. Stop not until the goal is duly reached. Let mankind join harmonious chorus loud. Pure thoughts abound and hurdles lightly breached, and love of all displaces darkest cloud. All flowing rivers and their streams shall meet within the vast and boundless sea. This offered tribute laid at heroes' holy feet, strong, full, and wise, and always truly free. Shenavaha Swamiji Talam Shenavaha Swamiji Talam Sabaneho eder gachvan bio. Sabaneho eder gachvan bio. Sabaneho behe the Lord is the night. Sabaneho behe the Lord is the night. Anev Vivekananda, Anev Murdaris, Anev Vivekananda, Anev Murdaris, Guiarinish is Kachlad Sel. Guiarinish es kachlad sel, guiarinish es kachlad sel.
Namah Shriyatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchid Sukha Swarupaya Swami Tapahaya Tarini. Maheshwaram Ujjvala Bhaskaram Ishtamamaranara Vandyam Vande Vedattanumujjita Darhita Panchana Kamini Bandham Bhuta Maheshwaram Ujjvala Bhaskaram Ishtamamaranara Vandyam Koti Bhanu Paradipta Simhamamo Patita Dapapina Vantam Koti Bhanu Paradipta Simhamamo Patita Dapapina Vantam Abhiravi Karana Mudha Prachanda Tandava Nitram Abhiravi Homkara Naditadin Mudha Prachanda Tandava Nitram Urta Maheshwaram Ujjvala Bhaskaram Ishtamamaranara Vandyam Mukti Mukti Kripa Kataksha Prekshana Madadala Vedalana Daksham Mukti Mukti Kripa Kataksha Prekshana Madadala Vedalana Daksham Palachandradhara Binduvandamiha Swami Guru Vivekananda Urta Maheshwaram Ujjvala Bhaskaram Ishtamamaranara Vandyam Ishtamamaranara Vandyam Ishtamamaranara Vandyam. Jaya Vireshwar Vivekabhaskar Jaya Jaya Shri Vivekananda Jaya Vireshwar Vivekabhaskar Jaya Jaya Shri Vivekananda Hindu Nibhanana Sundara Lojana Hindu Nibhanana Sundara Lojana Vishwamanava Chiravandya Jaya Vireshwara Vivekabhaskara Jaya Jaya Shri Vivekananda Prema Tala Tala Kanti Subhimala Prema Tala Tala Kanti Subhimala Adhikata Veda Vedanta त्यागति दीक्षा तपस्या उज्ज्वल त्यागति दीक्षा तपस्या उज्ज्वल चित्त निर्मल शांत जय वीरेश्वर विवेक भास्कर जय जय श्री विवेकानंद कर्म भक्ति ज्ञान त्रिशूल धारण कर्म भक्ति ज्ञान त्रिशूल धारण चेतन जीव मोह बंध ब्रह्म परायण नमो नारायण ब्रह्म परायण नमो नारायण देवी देवी चरणारविंद जय वीरेश्वर विवेक भास्कर जय जय श्री विवेकानंद हिंदू निभानन सुंदर लोचन विश्व मानव चिरवंद्य जय वीरेश्वर विवेक भास्कर जय जय श्री विवेकानंद This is Sanskrit stotram. It's written by whom I don't know. Okay. शतशौरि मुरारि तरङ्गयुतं अयुतायुध भास्कर कुक्षिप्रितं सुविशालं समुद्र सुधाम्रधरं सुविशाल समुद्र सुधाम्रधरं प्रणमामि गदाधरं ब्रह्मपरं प्रणमामि गदाधरं ब्रह्मपरं शुभिराम विराम विलासकरं चलद्रिम्बितकारणं कार्यबलं चित्तकाञ्चन कामं प्रपञ्चहरं चित्तकाञ्चन कामं प्रपञ्चहरं प्रणमामि गदाधरं ब्रह्मपरं प्रणमामि गदाधरं ब्रह्मपरं युगधर्मप्रवर्तकं गुप्तधरं जडपावनगाङ्ग्यतदावसतं शिशुं साम्यमगं ज्ञानम् शिशु साम्यमगं ज्ञानम् ज्ञानमामि गदाधरं ब्रह्मपरं प्रणमामि गदाधरं शिवकेशववासवसङ्गयुगम् अवतारगरेष्ठमदेष्टयुगम् अघमोचनदुष्कृतं गोपिकालं अघदोषनदुष्कृतं प्रणमामि गदाधरं ब्रह्मपरं
Namaste. Reading from the book The Master as I Saw Him by Sister Nivedita. In the great life that I have seen, I cannot but think that a double purpose is served, one of world moving and another of nation making. As regards foreign countries, Vivekananda was the first authoritative exponent to Western nations of the ideas of the Vedas and Upanishads. He had no dogma of his own to set forth. I have never, he said, quoted anything but the Vedas and Upanishads, and from them only that the word strength. He preached mukti instead of heaven, enlightenment instead of salvation, the realization of the immanent unity, Brahman, instead of God, the truth of all faiths instead of the binding force of any one. Western scholars were sometimes amazed and uncomfortable at hearing the subject of the learned researchers of the study poured out as living truths with all the fervor of the pulpit, but the scholarship of the preacher proved itself easily superior to any tests they could offer. His doctrine was no academic system of metaphysics of purely historic and linguistic interest, but the heart's faith of a living people who have struggled continuously for its realization in life and in death for 25 centuries. Books had been to him not the source and fountain of knowledge, but a mere commentary on and explanation of a life whose brightness would without them have dazzled him and left him incapable of analyzing it. It had been the same life of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa that had forced upon him the conviction that the theory of Advaita, as propounded by Shankaracharya, the theory that all is one and there is no second, was ultimately the only truth. It was this life, reinforced of course by his own experience, that had convinced him that even such philosophies as seemed to culminate at a point short of the absolute oneness would prove in the end to be dealing with phases only of the supreme realization. As an expression of this goal, however, every sincere belief was true. Bow thy head and adore, had said Sri Ramakrishna. where others worship, for in that form in which man has called on him, God will assuredly appear. At each step between the earth and the sun, said the Swami, we might conceivably take a photograph. No two of these would be perfectly similar. Yet, which could be said to be untrue? These sayings refer to the compatibility of the antagonistic religious ideas of different sects and creeds. But when the teacher of Dakshineshwar set himself to determine the accessibility of the highest illumination through the life of women, we are perhaps justified in feeling that he opened the door to a deeper regard for the sacredness of what is commonly considered to be merely social and secular. In a world of symbols, he proved the service of the home as true means to God as attendance on the altar. The sacraments of the temple, though served by priestly hands, not more a means of grace than the common bread of the household, broken and distributed by wife or mother. Everything, even the name of God, said Sri Ramakrishna, is Maya. But some of this Maya helps us towards freedom. The rest only leads us deeper into bondage. In showing that the daily life of a good woman was thus blessed, that a home was a temple, that courtesy, hospitality, and the fulfillment of duty in the world might be made into one long act of worship, Sri Ramakrishna, as I think, provided basis and sanction for what was to be a predominant thought with his great disciple. The Swami Vivekananda, in his wanderings over India during subsequent years, studied its multitude of small social formations, each embodying its central religious conviction, and found in all broken gleams of that brightness which he had seen at its fullest in his master. But when in 1893 he began to see the world outside India, it was by national and patriotic unities that he was confronted. And in these, as naturally as in the creeds and sects of his own land, he continued to feel the outworking of the divine within man. For many years, this was entirely unconscious, yet no one around him stood unimpressed by his eager study of the strong points of different peoples. One day, in the course of my voyage to England, when he had been telling me with the greatest delight of the skilled seamanship and exquisite courtesy of the Turk, I drew his attention to the astonishing character of his enthusiasm. His mind seemed to turn to the thought of the ship's servants, whose childlike devotion to himself had touched him deeply. You see, I love our Mohammedans, he said simply, as if accused of a fault. Yes, I answered, but what I want to understand is this habit of seeing every people from their strongest aspect. Where did it come from? Do you recognize it in any historical character? Or is it in some way derived from Sri Ramakrishna? Slowly, the look of puzzled surprise left his face. It must have been the training under Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he answered. We all went by his path to some extent. Of course, it was not so difficult for us as he made it for himself. He would eat and dress like the people he wanted to understand, take their initiation and use their language. One must learn, he said, to put oneself into another man's very soul. And this method was his own. No one ever before in India became Christian and Mohammedan and Vaishnava by turns. Thus, a nationality in the Swami's eyes had all the sacredness of a church whose inmost striving was to express its own conception of ideal manhood. The longer I live, he was once here to ejaculate, the more I think that the whole thing is summed up in manliness. By a reflex of consciousness, the more he became acquainted with the strength and lovableness of other nations, the more proud he grew of his Indian birth, becoming daily more aware of those things in which his own motherland, in her turn, stood supreme. He discussed nations like epochs from various points of view successively, not binding himself to any aspect of their vast personality. The offspring of the Roman Empire he considered always to be brutal, and the Japanese notion of marriage he held in horror. Unvaryingly, nevertheless, he would sum up the case in terms of the constructive ideals, never of the defects of a community. And in one of the last utterances I heard from him on these subjects, he said, for patriotism, the Japanese, for patriotism, the Japanese, for purity, the Hindu, and for manliness, the European. There is no other in the world, he added with emphasis, who understands as does the Englishman what should be the glory of a man. His object as regards India, said the Swami in a private conversation, had always been to make Hinduism aggressive. The eternal faith must become active and proselytizing, capable of sending out special missions, of making converts, of taking back into her fold those of her own children who had been perverted from her, and of the conscious and deliberate assimilation of new elements. Did he know that any community becomes aggressive, that any faith will be made active the moment it becomes aware of itself as an organized unity? Did he know that he himself was to make the self-recognition possible to the church of his forefathers? At any rate, his whole work from the first had consisted, according to his own statement, of a search for the common basis of Hinduism. He felt instinctively that to find these and reassert them was the one way of opening to the Mother Church the joyous conviction of her own youth and strength. Had not Buddha preached renunciation and nirvana, and because these were the essentials of the national life, had not India, within 2 centuries of his death, become a powerful empire? So he too would fall back upon the essentials and declare them, leaving results to take care of themselves. He held that the one authority which Hinduism claimed to rest upon, the only guide she proposed to the individual soul, was spiritual truth. Those laws of experience that underlie and give birth to all scriptures were that she really meant by the word Vedas. The books called by that name were refused by some of her children, the Jains, for example, yet the Jains were nonetheless Hindus for that. All that is true is Veda, and the Jain is to the full as much bound by his view of truth as any other. For he would extend the sphere of the Hindu church to its utmost. With her 2 wings, he could cover all her fledglings. I go forth, he had said of himself before he left for America the first time, I go forth to preach a religion of which Buddhism is nothing but a rebel child, and Christianity, with all her pretensions, only a distant echo. Even as books, however, he would claim that the glory of the Vedic scriptures was unique in the history of religion. And this not merely because of their great antiquity, but vastly more for the fact that they alone amongst all the authoritative books of the world warned man that he must go beyond all books. Truth being thus the one goal of the Hindu creeds, and this being conceived of not as revealed truth to be accepted, but as accessible truth to be experienced, it followed that there could never be any antagonism, real or imagined, between scientific and religious conviction in Hinduism. In this fact, the Swami saw the immense capacity of the Indian peoples for that organized conception of science peculiar to the modern era. No advance of knowledge had ever been resisted by the religious intellect of India, nor had the Hindu clergy, a greater glory still, ever been known to protest against the right of the individual to perfect freedom of thought and belief. This last fact, indeed, giving birth to the doctrine of the Ishta Devata, the idea that the path of the soul is to be chosen by itself, he held to be the one universal differentia of Hinduism, making it not only tolerant but observant of every possible form of faith and culture. Even the temper of sectarianism, characterized by the conviction that God himself is of the believer's creed and his limited group, the one true church, and allying itself, as it now and then will, with every statement that man has ever formulated, was regarded by Hinduism, he pointed out, as a symptom not of falsehood or narrowness, but only of youth. It constituted, as Sri Ramakrishna had said, the intellectual fence so necessary to the seedling, but so inimical to the tree. The very fact that he would impose limitations was a proof that we were still dealing with the finite. When the cup of experience should be full, the soul would dream only of the infinite. All men hedge in the fields of earth, but who can hedge in the sky? Had said the master. The vast complexes of systems which made up Hinduism was in every case based upon the experimental realization of religion and characterized by an infinite inclusiveness. The only tests of conformity ever imposed by the priesthood had been social, and while this had resulted in a great rigidity of custom, it implied that to their thinking the mind was eternally free. But it could not be disputed that the thought area within Hinduism, as actually realized, had been colored by the accumulation of a few distinctive ideas, and these were the main subjects of the Swami's address before the Parliament of Religions at Chicago in 1893. Thank you.
So I'm going to sing the song of Sannyasi by Swami Vivekananda, and he wrote this at Thousand Island Park in New York in 1895. So it is a 13 stanza, so I am only singing 3 of them. Se Om Tat Sat Om Vedanta Sanyasinbo Se Om Tat Sat Om. The song that had its birth far off, where worldly taint could never reach, in mountain caves and glades of forest day, whose calm no sigh for loss or wealth or fame could ever dare to break, where old the stream of truth and bliss that follow sing high that no sannyasin born. Se Om Tat Sat Om. Cities to on from me, no danger be to all that lives in those that dwell on high, in those that lowly pray. I am the self in all life, both and here and there. Do I renounce all heaven and earth and health, all hopes and fears? Does God thy born sannyasin born? Se Om Tat Sat Om. Thus day by day till karma's power spent, release the soul forever. No more is born become, and all is and bliss. Not out that sannyasin bod. Say Om Tatsat. Om. Say Om Tatsat. Om. Say Om Tatsat. Om. Thank you. Sri Ram, Sri Ram. Sri Ramchandra Kripalu bhaj man, haran bhav bhaya darunam. Sri Ramchandra Kripalu bhaj man, haran bhav bhaya darunam. Nav kanj lochan कंज मुख कर, कंज पद कंजारुणम. श्री राम, श्री राम. कंदर्प अकनित अमित छवि, नवनील नीरज सुंदरम. पथ पीतमानहु तरित रुचि सुचि, नौमि जनक सुता परम. श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन, हरण भव भय दारुणम. श्री राम, श्री राम. भज दीन बंधु दिनेश, दानव दैत्य वंश निकुंदनं. रघुनंद आनंद कंद कौशल चंद्र, दशरथ नंदनं. श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन, हरण भव भय दारुणम. श्री राम, श्री राम. शिर मुकुट कुंडल तिलक चारु दारु, अंग विभूषणम. अजानन कुछ शर छाप धर संग्राम जीते घर दूषण श्री राम श्री राम। इति वदति तुलसीदास शंकर शेष मुनि मनरंजनम मम हृदय कुंज निवास कुरु कम दीखल दल गंजनम श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन हरण भव भय दारुण नव कंज लोचना कंज मुख कर कंज पद कंजारुण श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम श्री पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो, पायो जी मैंने वस्तु अमोलिक दे मेरे सतगुरु, वस्तु अमोलिक दे मेरे सतगुरु, कृपा करे अपनायो, पायो जी मैंने कृपा करे अपनायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो। जन्म जन्म की पूंजी पाए, जन्म जन्म की पूंजी पाए, जग में सभी को पायो, पायो जी मैंने जग में सभी को पायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो। खर्च न खोटे चोर न लूटे, खर्च न खोटे चोर न लूटे, दिन दिन बढ़त सोहायो, पायो जी मैंने दिन दिन बढ़त सोहायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो।
मानो जी मैंने राम रतन धन, राम रतन धन, राम रतन धन पायो। This is a Sanskrit song on Vivekananda. I've shared the lyrics in the Jai Swamiji group. Bhuvana Mandali Navayuga Mudayatu.
Sada Vivekanandamaya Suvivedanayam Swanandamaya Jivi Jivi Shivasvarupam Jivi Jivi Shivasvarupam Samamayan Sevaya Samamayan Sevaya Srimadhurajitam Mahamadhavam Srimadhurajitam Mahamadhavam Samarjayatu Nija Pujaya Samarjayatu Nija Pujaya Janatu Manavo Yamasumritaram Janatu Manavo Yamasumritaram Dharmam Sevam Yadamayam Dharmam Sevam Yadamayam Sada Vivekanandamaya Suvivedamayam Swanandamaya Bhuvanamandane Navayugamudaya Sada Vivekanandamaya Suvivedamayam Swanandamaya Suvivedamayam Swanandamaya.
We sing a song on Holy Madonna. It's Adanta Rupini, it's page 28, page 32. This is a Bengali song, Vivekananda Bandana, and it's not there in the Hindi skin. It is Jaya Jaya Shani Vivekananda Bhubaneswar. Y'all can join in the chorus though. The chorus is Jaya Jaya Shiva, Jaya Jyoti Bar, Om Hara Shiva, Hara Jyoti Bar, Jaya Jaya Shiva, Jaya Jyoti Bar. Okay. Jaya Jaya Shami Vivekananda, Jaya Tribhuvane Shama, Kaho Jaya Ganga Hitola, Kaho Jaya Ganga Hitola, Viharar Gano Ashma, Jaya Jaya Shiva, Jaya Jyotiva, Om Hara Shiva, Jaya Jyotiva. Jaya Jaya Shiva Jaya Jyotiva. Aji se Shambhu Aji Nikke Nikke Nigaya Aji se Namo Shante. Bhatari Nigaya Aji se Namo Shante. Om Mano Moniya Naina, Om Mano Moniya Naina, Arulle Mai Pasha. Jaya Jaya Shiva Jaya Jyotiva. Om Hara Shiva Hara Jyotiva. Jaya Jaya Shiva Jaya Jyotiva.
Om Anitya Dreyeshu Vivicha Nityam Tasmin Samadata Hihasma Leelaya Viveka Valakya Vishuddha Chitam Yaso Viveki Tam Aham Namam. We salute that discriminate one Viveka, whose mind was purified by renunciation and discrimination, and to whom it was only play to separate the eternal from the non-eternal and concentrate his mind on the former. So, dear which Majan, good morning everybody, and Swamiji Lo Breha Sunaha. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly because Brian is not here, but anyway, it's okay. Will we all stand up, please? Please take your arms and fold them like this and stand up straight. Good. You are now all Vivekas, Vivekanandas. Okay, please sit down. Good. So what is the purpose of doing all that? You see, or the reading that we had earlier on, the Master as I saw him. And by the way, the only real information as far as I can make out on Swami Vivekananda is from the Master as I saw him. And Sister Nivedita was traveling with him on the second trip back to the West. And she got some incredible insights into the person and personality of Swamiji, a remarkable person, a polymath, somebody who was a giant. And so in a few minutes, how can we describe such an entity? We have, in all these songs, Swami Vivekananda identified with Shiva himself. There's a historical reason for that, but he had all the characteristics of Shiva. And in front of us, we have the whole Trinity, be it Christian, be it Hindu, because you see, we have Shiva on the one side, that is equivalent to spirit. Shiva doesn't come without a Shakti. And then in the center, we have Vishnu, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya, so it goes on, the Bhagavad Gita, from age to age, cosmic balancing power is born in order to change the whole of humanity's course for the next 1,500 years. And then, of course, we have Holy Mother on the end there, who really represents Saraswati, that is Brahma. Brahma in active form, Shakti form. So we are living in a remarkable age because we are so proximate to the events that we call Sri Ram Krishna. Sister Nivedita in her master as I saw him, made this remark, a link to do with a chain of events, that somebody from the fisherwoman caste starts a whole story with a vision. And from that vision, the temple of Dakshinaswar, without that, there's no Ramakrishna. Without Ramakrishna, there's no Vivekananda. So to understand this phenomena that we call Swami Vivekananda is a remarkable thing. Firstly, what divinity shone forth through him was how his master described him. And he turned everything upside down, of course. He was a paradox of worship and also Advaita, non-dualism. And he was also allergic to the term only, this exclusiveness. Every page of his life we see this unity that was expressed by example of his own master. Can we describe Sri Ramakrishna? If you are a Tantrika, you say he was a Tantrika. If you are an Advaitin, you say he was an Advaitin. If you are prone to Bhakti Yoga, you will say he was a Bhakta. Others will say he was a Jnani. And we find all this within Swami Vivekananda in his teachings, 4 yogas. This is not a new concept. This is there in the Bhagavad Gita. If we look carefully, we'll see all these approaches there. But Swami Vivekananda consolidated them all. And all he was doing was expressing to the whole world, not just to one person or 2 people, but to the whole cosmos, this teaching of unity of existence and also unity of approach. So we have a methodology updated for modern times, and we also have a principle that is required for all times, a principle of unity in everything. For this reason, what did he teach? The Vedas, of which the Upanishads, of which strength. And so in the reading that was read earlier on from the master, as I saw him, we find these 2 key values: purity that comes from India and manliness that comes from the West. And when you stood up and folded your arms, you were expressing this manliness. It's not a gender thing. It's a quality. We also, psychologists will tell us, we have a kind of male and female within us. And so there can be nothing more manly than the great hero, Swami Vivekananda. The song that Brian sang so beautifully was, "O Hero, Mahavira, O great hero." And it is the lesson to all of us, the lesson of strength, not the lesson of sadness. It's not a woeful tale. It's not to sit down and say, what a pity. It is to stand up and say, what a glory, and to see the strength and goodness in everything and everywhere. And for this reason, Swamiji was known to be completely and absolutely fearless. One of the great qualities, abhaya, fearlessness, that is espoused by the Upanishads. It is only with this fearlessness that we should approach life. And along with that, we see it as a kind of game, a kind of play. So who can understand this great Swami Vivekananda in terms of our normal common understanding? We can see how sometimes he would even rant against Sri Ramakrishna himself, saying, my whole life has been ruined by a madman's teaching. That's on the one side. And then on the other side, he would say that worship is all nonsense and that no one can be a devotee who has not got something wrong with his head and so on. But when he saw the effect of his words as they stupefied or perplexed his listeners, he would come out of those moods during which he felt a peculiar super exaltation, a kind of personality that superseded all of these feelings. And it wasn't that for one moment he disbelieved either in his master or in worship or devotion, but he could indeed criticize his guru or an avatar without losing the least particle of his unsurpassed love and reverence for him. It is noted that he was in Boston addressing an audience, and the topic requested was his master, Ramakrishna. He looked at the audience. He saw the worldliness there, the materialism, the greediness and the power, and he shut his mouth and walked off the stage, offending many people. He wasn't a pleaser of people. And then he felt so unhappy. His master that he was going to speak on never criticized a single person. And yet, in his own mind, he had judged people. And from there on, he never ever wrote or spoke about his master. In the language of my own guru, he never put Ramakrishna in the fish market, never degraded him. He only taught the principles. And in letters to his brother monks and so on, he remarked, anybody who is going to spread this missionary endeavor of Vedanta philosophy worldwide, be it in India or outside India, should stick to the principles. Operate, he said, as if I were dead, as if I was not alive. Stand up for yourself and mark your own territory. But teach the principles, not the personalities. He noted that all these spiritual giants that came into the world and taught the principles were followed by devotees who degraded it into personalities and made a kind of exclusivism and made religions fight with each other. And he was careful to avoid this, teaching only the principles. That's why we have Vedanta societies, to teach Vedanta, and that is it. And so all of these characteristics, you cannot compare him to anybody because his vision was so expansive, so revolutionary. It was difficult to keep up with his ideas. And then as a monk, the master himself called him Sukha. He was a born Brahmajnani, according to Sri Ramakrishna. And we heard the beautiful rendering of the sannyasin, the song of the sannyasin. So he was a monk of an unusual type because he was a giant worker, a gigantic worker with endless plans. Yet he was immune, on the other hand, to name and fame and wealth. And his thoughts were occupied with his guru and his divine mother. Naran can never succumb to lust, his master was said to have remarked. And as an ascetic and a yogi, he went against the traditional grain. He didn't repress anything. He wasn't repelling anything, but he was deifying everything. He had this outlook where he saw the good in everything and the God in everything. And then even as a teacher and a leader, there's no doubt that he accepted everybody who needed his love. He was a guru of love and equality. He said, I will give everything I have of the best to you, everything that I am. If I have any spiritual realization, it is yours. I will be with you forever. If need be, I shall go through 1,000 deaths and 1,000 hells for you. And it didn't matter about their deservedness, as long as they were sincere and earnest. And some disciples gave up the teaching or deserted him personally, or even became his violent opponent. And as a lesson to anybody who takes on this role, because he took this not in an offensive way, but philosophically, and he had no resentment. It's a good exemplary lesson. He gave remarkable freedom to his disciples to allow them to grow. And he asked them to work it all out themselves. Work for the principles, not the persons, be it him or his master. And the danger, he remarked, of past disciples was to go against this. He was a true leader. Some people are born leaders. they are born with these leadership characteristics, it means that people feel inclined to follow him to the ends of the earth. We have descriptions, even from his first speech at the Parliament of Religions, how he was an impressive person. He was good looking. He was handsome. He had impressive eyes. We've all seen the pictures, and we've all seen how he stood. And you've also now stood like this. And if we are to learn anything from Swami Vivekananda, all we have to look at are the photographs, many photographs and pictures of him in this heroic stance, something like Napoleon standing there, and his speech, something like the symphonic rhythms of Beethoven, according to the great savant Romain Rolland. All of this is to do with positivity and strength, and we'll all go through vicissitudes. We'll all go under criticism, but what is our reaction? The reaction is stability. Swami Vivekananda is an artist. He was a great singer. His voice was sweet. And because of his lectures, the voice became a little rougher. But his voice was enchanting, don't forget. It sent his master into samadhi. And he could dance for joy in the Lord, like St. Francis of Assisi, the mystic. His poetry we can see in the complete works. And his poetry marked a renaissance in religion, a renaissance in art. He noted that every renaissance in religion in the world was also accompanied by a renaissance in art, nature, and beauty. He was a great observer of everything. And when we look at the complete works of his and the letters and observations, we see he noted everything from food to clothing to habits. He was a great, he enjoyed his ship passages, even though, of course, there were moments where these boats never had any stability as ships do today. You can imagine the rolling aspects of these ships in these days, and how uncomfortable a passage might be when the seas were rough. But that's an analogy also for life. Sometimes the seas are rough, and sometimes the seas are smooth, and we have to take it as we find it philosophically. He was a mystic, he was a philosopher, he was a bhaktya, he was a karma yogin, he was everything. He was a great conversationalist. We have to understand that when he spoke in English, and some commentators felt he spoke with an Irish brogue, that would not be correct, because his professor when he was at the college was really Scottish. So we can imagine him speaking in a slight Scottish brogue. He was a great conversationalist and would try to understand the other person's point of view, unless the person said something a little foolish, in which case he was absolutely ruthless in his debate and in his arguing. And part of his artistry was, in his own words, to put the Hindu ideas into English and then make out of dry philosophy and intricate mythology and queer, startling psychology, a religion which shall be easy, simple, popular, and at the same time meet the requirements of the highest minds. This is a task only those can understand who have attempted it. The abstract Advaita must become living, poetic, in everyday life. Out of hopelessly intricate mythology must come concrete moral forms, and out of bewildering yogism must come the most scientific and practical psychology. And all this must be put in a form so that the child may grasp it. That is my life's work, he says. compose those magnificent poetic outbursts that adorn his speeches and writings. He was a poet's soul which perceived hints of beauty and divinity, where the ordinary man perceives nothing, and revealed them to the world in a language clothed with beauty as well as grace. Swami exclaimed, "Don't you see I am above all a poet?" And the Swami, realizing himself the underlying spirituality in poetry and art, said in one of his moods, that man cannot be truly religious, which is not the faculty of feeling the beauty and grandeur of art. It's remarked, one of the American papers remarked, "But woe to the man who understood to combat the monk on his own ground." And that was where they all tried. Who tried it at all? And his replies came like flashes of lightning, with the venturesome questioner was sure to be impaled on the Indian's shining intellectual lance. The workings of his mind, so subtle and so brilliant, so well stored and so well trained, dazzled his hearers. But it was always a most interesting study. We see, therefore, an intellectual giant. We see there a compassionate heart, a heart that could burst into tears for the poor, the oppressed of his own countrymen in India. The heart that mobilized people through leadership. And his leadership was not, "I am the leader." His leadership was, "I am the servant." And he writes this, when you go to any center, if you start a work, don't put yourself as leader, put yourself as servant. And yet he had these automatic leadership qualities that his followers would follow him personally to the ends of the earth. And so it was with his Gurubhais. They all admired him. They may have disagreed with him because they couldn't catch his vision, the far-sighted vision that he had. But nevertheless, they all followed him. And so, in the Parliament religions, we find him exposing a new teaching to the world. And to the West, it represented a new kind of man. And to the East in India, it represented a new kind of monk and a new monastic movement. And therefore, he is justifiably the patron saint of India. And the national significance is there because the sequence of events goes like this. If it wasn't for Rani Rasmani, there'd be no Ramakrishna. If it wasn't for Ramakrishna, there'd be no Vivekananda. And the story starts with a fisherwoman, a woman of fisher class. And remarkably, Sister Nivedita points out, the story of the organization and renaissance and revolution of the Vedic teachings starts with Vyasa, son of a fisherwoman. Isn't it remarkable? And both of them managed to change the whole world. Of anyone else, he said. And in terms of practicality and social good, I do not believe in a God or religion which cannot wipe a widow's tears or bring a piece of bread to the orphan's mouth. In terms of defining religion, religion is not in books, nor in theories, nor in dogmas, nor in talking, nor even in reasoning. It is being and becoming. In terms of potentiality, infinite power and existence and blessedness are ours. We don't have to look for them. They're already ours. And we have not to acquire them. They are our own. And we have only to manifest them And that was the thrust of his whole mission and his whole life. In terms of faith, he defines faith. He who has no faith in himself can never have faith in God. You see the trend. Strength in your own self, faith in your own self. Stand up, work, worship, do it with a joyful attitude. And joyfulness in spirituality. He says the first sign that you are becoming religious is not that you are becoming cheerful. Is that you are becoming cheerful. And when a man is gloomy, that may be dyspepsia, but is not life. Immanent awareness. The living God is within you. And every great teacher tells us the same. And how do we create a harmony? Manifest the divinity within you, and everything will be harmoniously arranged around it. And in terms of practical Advaita, non-dualism, he alone is worshipping God, who serves all beings. Here we find the whole universality of life and existence, not just for modern times, but for all times. We are so thankful that we have in our midst, so close in our history, as Swami Vivekananda. And in his last days, the remarkable events we find marking out 4th of July, American independence, for his demise. We find there a complexity of character, and the complexity continues on the last day of his life. None could measure the charm of his personality. It was inexplicable. For the light in his eyes, the music of his voice, the beauty and the majesty of his physical appearance, combined with numerous godly virtues of mind and heart and soul, rendered it difficult to touch upon any one attractive element as supreme, and all made him irresistible as a man and as a thinker, and also as a teacher. And so I'll leave that off now, and we'll go into the Pushpanjali, Guru Mahakat. Thank you.
Om Aim Éire Sachandana Pushpanjali Sangaya Savarnaya Srimad Vivekanandaya Om Aim Éire Sachandana Pushpanjali Sangaya Savarnaya Srimad Vivekanandaya Om Aim Éire Sachandana Pushpanjali Sangaya Savarnaya Srimad Vivekanandaya Pranama mantra. Namaste Yatirajaya Vivekanandaya Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. So Pushpanjali is as good as equal to doing puja. So mentally you offer worship to Swami Vivekananda and Holy Tube, offer your prayers and seek the blessings on this auspicious day. May Swami Vivekananda and Holy Tube bless all of us and fulfill our prayers and wishes. So after offering Pushpan, you can sit down and we'll have Arati, and afterwards we'll go to Prasad.
I will sing the third hymn, Om Sarva Mangala Mangali.
जय श्री गुरु महाराज जी की जय। जय महामाई की जय। जय स्वामी जी महाराज की जय। जय भगवान बुद्ध देव की जय। जय भगवान यीशु क्रिस्त की जय। जय लोक माता निवेदिता की जय।
Yeah, I think Mira will sing it Sanskrit song. English song, of course, can be followed by Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Please drop. Yeah. Hari Priya Sakhe, Jannadinamidam. Hari Priya Sakhe, Santanu Tude, Sarvadam. Santanu Tude, Sarvadam. Prarthayamahe, Bhavasatayishi. Prarthayamahe, Bhavasatayishi. Ishvara sada tvam charashatu. Ishvara sada tvam charashatu. Punya karmana kirti marjaya. Punya karmana kirti marjaya. Jivanam tava bhavatu sakaram. Jivanam tava bhavatu sakaram. Punya janmadinamidam. Hai Priya Sakhe, janmadinamidam. Hai Priya Sakhe, Santanu Tude, Sarvada Mudam. Santanu Tude, Sarvada Mudam. Santanu Tude, Sarvada Mudam.